Hi, I'm Lorie and I love books. And today will be some catching up, some changes that I've made already, and some changes that will be coming soon. And then Kitty Duchess is under the table. She shook the camera a little bit. I'm sorry about that. And then my recent reads, if I didn't mention that. So, first, one of the things I changed was my book journal. So, I had gotten this one. It looks very pretty. But it's been very difficult to use. It's been very difficult to write at the bottom of the pages, even though I didn't write much there. And then the prompts aren't very entertaining or aren't inspiring me. So, like, what did I expect from this book? Why did this book catch my attention? I'm like, aren't those the same question? And most of the reasons that I pick a book is based on the title or the topic, and every once in a while it's because it was recommended. So I decided I would stop doing this one. That also didn't allow me to be very creative. I couldn't really decorate the pages or anything. So I got a new one. And this one's not quite as nice, but it's much easier to write in. And it has a fewer prompts, but then it has a whole page where I can just be me on. And so I'm thinking I'll put like a little rectangle of each book cover there. And then it has like a little pie graph that can help me decide on the rating. And so I'm looking forward to filling this one out. So one of my current reads is Whispers and Wildflowers. I started this in 2020, I think, and I'm about halfway through, so I'm hoping to finish this between now and June. And then the other book I'm reading is on my tablet. I did a lot of tablet reading this year because I was in the hospital and then recovering. So right now I'm reading part of the complete works of George MacDonald. This is on my book bucket list, and I'm reading currently Warlock Oakland Warlock, which is Castle Warlock, and it's following Cosmo, the young lord. So his dad's still alive. And it starts when he's 14. Right now he's about 25. It starts with a mystery about an old relative of his who might be his great-granduncle. There's some debate about how the relationship was. And he died mysteriously. The great-granduncle, who was either captain of a sea ship or a pirate, and then the mysterious death, and his staff went missing. And so that's the first mystery that starts. And then while going back home during a snowstorm, Cosmo comes across a carriage. In the carriage is a different lord and his daughter, Lady Joan, and the lord has some connection to the castle, to the point that the help, Grizzy, is suspecting that he might have had something to do with the captain's death. So it's really good. It does have a lot of spirituality in it. A lot of Cosmo is very close to God and his father and loves them both very much, and his father is also very close to God. So it has a lot of spiritual Christian passages as well as the story. So I'm really enjoying that. So those are the current reads. And then, let's see. The first TBR I had for 2025, hard to believe that's it, was inspired by the word, excuse me, nod. So the first book I read of 2025 was The Nodders, What You Don't Want to Take a Nap or Want to Nap, and it's a story by Tina Huggins. And it's basically telling a child that if they don't take a nap, then the nodders can't wake up and play. And then it ends with the creating like a little envelope to hang on the door so that the nodders could leave a little treasure for a napping child as a thank you. It was an okay book. I think I gave it 4 stars, but that was mostly because I think I really just enjoyed getting back to reading. And then I read 5 different editions of Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod. This one is the least favorite I had, the illustrated Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod, which was with this computer graphic, very vibrant, very brash illustrations that I did not enjoy at all and didn't think went with the story as well. I gave that 2 stars. This one was like the longest one, Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod. It's a poem by Eugene Field. I forgot to mention that with the last one. And this one's illustrated by Johanna Westerman. And this one was good, but not my favorite best one. So I gave this 3 stars. And then, sorry. Oh, I lost it. Hold on a minute. And then the last one I read was Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod, illustrated by Sheila Beckett. And this was a board book that I read along with. And as it was showing the pictures and the illustrations went perfectly with the poem by Eugene Field. And so I liked this one the best. I also watched Winkin' and Blinkin' and Nod on Disney Plus as one of the silly symphonies. That was 2-dimensional animation, and that was very entertaining as well. I also read Dreamland by Serena O'Brien. This was just okay. I gave it 3 stars. It was just about encouraging a child to go to sleep. Nothing special. I also read The Land of Nod by Robert Louis Stevenson, and unfortunately this one was very forgettable. I don't even really remember much about it. But I think I gave that 3 stars as well. And then the book that inspired the Nod TBR is a book I found at the end of last year called The Land of Nod. Let me see who it's by. Sorry about this. Okay, I'm not sure who it was by, but it was an older book. And basically it starts with Tinky and Tess falling asleep on Christmas Eve, which if I knew this was a Christmas book, I would have read it last year. But I didn't know that just based on the title. And they fall asleep on Christmas Eve. Or no, they don't fall asleep. They're awake. And the Sandman comes. That's this little guy. And he doesn't have any sand left, so he takes them on a moonbeam up to Nod. And as they're going up to Nod, the Welsh rabbit, which I've never heard of before, crashes into the moonbeam. Tinky and Tess fall into the Welsh rabbit's sleigh, and their adventure starts. And at one point, the alphabet is trying to go to court because they don't think they are being paid fairly, and it's very dreamlike where like things change suddenly and don't make a whole lot of sense. And so I really enjoyed this book. It was a lot of fun. So I was very glad I found that one. And then I also read a book that sounded similar called The Magical Land of New. And this is by written and illustrated by Johnny Gruhl, who also did the Raggedy Ann and Andy stories. So it's very similar to that, where it has mushrooms that are edible and taste like cakes. There's a little lemonade fountain at one point, but the 2 children create a flying machine and go to the moon, but then they go behind the moon, which is the land of New. which I thought was very cute. The grandpa and grandma are waiting for them to come back, but they don't come back, and so the grandparents figure they can't come back, so they go and create their own flying machine and go up after their grandchildren. And in the land of Noom, there's a wicked, evil wizard who is trying to turn the grandchildren into animals, and they have to escape. And while the grandparents are traveling through the land of Noom, they come across the princess that the land actually belongs to, not the wizard, and they have to help her reclaim her throne and reclaim her land. And it was quite a fun, jaunty read. It was very action-packed. There was a lot of magic in it, too. So I really liked that. I believe I gave that 4 stars. And then The Dreamland Express, written and illustrated by H.R. Miller, is about 3 boys that wake up hearing a train, but not where the train should be. It's kind of on the other side of the forest, and so they go and they find a magical train that they are going to be the engine men of, that is filled with girls and boys, and they go through different lands on the train, a land full of lions, they meet a giant, there's interesting creatures. I think there were dinosaurs at one point. It was a very fun adventure, and they eventually get to the end of the world, and that's the end of the book. So I don't want to spoil what happens next, but it was quite fun and adventurous and a lot of magical lands I hadn't been to before. So I gave this 4 stars. And then the last digital book I read was, because I was running out of books with Nod in it, I thought a moon book would make sense, because the moon's out when you're usually taking when you're asleep at night. So this is Mr. Tiger, Betsy, and the Blue Moon by Sally Gardner. And Betsy is a child whose parents own an ice cream store on an island. There's a mysterious frog that they deliver ice cream to, who says that she's a princess that's been transformed, and so they're trying to help the princess get restored back to her original form and retake the princess's island from her evil sister. And they have to turn the moon blue in order to do that. And so it's the adventure of how that happens. Mr. Tiger owns a circus that comes on a ship to the island. And so that's how Betsy and the tiger get to know each other. There is a sequel to this, so I probably will read the sequel. I found this book very fun to read. And then that was all the digital books I read. And then I did read a couple physical books. I reread The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I still don't know how to say his last name. I got the Everyman Classics Children's Library book, and so this goes with my collection, so that's why I got it, and then I reread it, and I enjoyed it as much as I did the first time, but I didn't cry as much the second time, because I am believing the Little Prince a little bit more in this one than I did at the first one. And then the other book I read was Dreambound, a novel by Dan Frey, and this was a 5-star book. I got this in my September Piece and Pages subscription box, and so this wasn't a book I would have picked up normally, but when reading it I was like so just excited and entertained. It's of a father who's looking for his missing daughter. So it is an adult book. There is cursing and alcoholism and possibly criminal behavior in it. But his daughter goes missing. Her phone last pinged in Venice Beach. So he goes from Boston to Venice Beach to try to find his daughter. And along the way, he is trying to get a hold of the author of the books that the daughter loved, which is a fairy tale series of books. And it, like by the halfway point, it either is going to go to a criminal, like it'll be just like a crime-based novel, I couldn't really tell, or it was going to be about mental health and grief and loss, or it could have just gone full fairy tale fantasy mode. And I'm not going to tell you the end, but it was exactly everything I want in a book. I loved this book. I definitely think I'll try to find more books by Dan Frey. And one of the other characters I really liked, in addition to the father, was a homeless man named Mr. Echo. And I don't know that you're supposed to like him, but I just really liked him. He would rhyme his sentences, and then when the father sits down and really talks with him for the first time, I really liked how he spoke and what he says. And so I really enjoyed him as a character as well. So I highly recommend this book. And so that was the last of the books I've read between January and now. And so I do have a little bit of book mail. This first one isn't a book. These are cards I got of Alice in Wonderland, I think. Yeah. Oh. Let me see. So it came with a little thank you note from Silly Goose Gifts. So it has like a little Alice and, and there's like two of each. Cheshire Cat on teacups. So I got these for my scrap art journal. A white rabbit and all the characters together. So I'm looking forward to using those. And then the rest are books. So from Thrift Books, I got a little, it's a little damaged, but it's still cute. The Walrus and the Carpenter. It's a little mini classics. So this will be fun to read. It's a shame it's a little, maybe I can wipe it and clean it. I'm not sure. This one is Alice in Verse, The Lost Rhymes of Wonderland by J. Holden, illustrated by Andrew Johnson. So this, the back says, "Who really stole the Queen's tarts?" And "Come follow Alice," reimagined through the lyrical language of Wonderland. So, I'm hoping I'll love it. I hope I love all my Alice in Wonderland books. But like the only one I never did, or I didn't like, was After Alice. So far, that's the only one I have not liked. So I got another Walrus and the Carpenter book. This one's much nicer and bigger. So some just words. A little bit of illustrations. Oh, and that's the Gardener song. And so I guess it is and other remarkable rhymes. So this is a lot of different poems by Lewis Carroll, illustrated by Julian Doyle. And the last one I have is, upside down, Alice in Limerick Land. And this is by Just Limericks. So I guess it's just a publishing company and not an actual author. And it says, whimsical rhymes to delight the mind and heart. This enchanting collection of clever, playful limericks takes you on a poetic journey through the beloved tales of Wonderland. So And I love that the Cheshire Cat's on the cover. So those are the new books I got. Let me know in the comments what new books you've gotten, what books you've read so far this year. Please subscribe and like the video. And until next time, have a lovely time reading. Bye!